Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Absolute morons. I mean, I swear, complete freaking morons. Look, we spend 99% of the time on this channel dunking on the clown show that is the Democrat Party. And of course, they absolutely deserve it. It's important work. But sometimes, you gotta put things into perspective. You gotta count your blessings. It's like when you travel to a third world country, you realize, wow, how good you have it at home. And in this case, once you zoom out and actually look around the world, it kind of hits you. The Democrats are pretty bad, but are they the worst? I don't think so. I don't think it's even close, in fact. No, I think just looking simply north of the border, looking up, well, it'll probably have you counting your blessings real quick and realizing just how bad it can get. How bad it can get if you enable the Democrats in their shtick. And that endgame, folks, that aftermath, that is Canadian Politics 101. I gotta be honest, arguably one of the worst positions that you can be on in the planet right now is being a Canadian voter. Trapped under the dumbest political leadership class imaginable, led by people who aren't just weak, but frankly are completely delusional and corrupt. And the worst part is, you don't exactly have a choice. Pretty much all the parties are the same. There's no such thing as conservatism, and so you're basically F no matter what. In fact, the main character in today's story about Canada, the biggest clown of the day, is technically a conservative. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on in clown world north of the border. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So Canada's ruling class clearly has clinged on to this phony victim complex here. We're being bullied by Donald Trump. We're being targeted. But as I said in the last video, give me a frickin' break. Every major nation that has significant trade with the United States, but most importantly, has significant trade deficits with the United States, every single one of those nations has had to face the music and negotiate new terms of trade with President Donald Trump. And most trading partners came to the table, acted like adults, and struck deals. Canada, however, well, they chose a different path. They chose to throw a full-blown tantrum. They went full-on toddler mode. And this behavior over the last couple of months has sent them deeper and deeper and deeper into a ditch. Like the country of Canada is represented by a metal pole that's stuck into the ground, and they just keep smacking that pole deeper and deeper and deeper. And now they're fully freaking submerged. And you would think at some point they'd realize, hey, this strategy of attacking the president of the United States that we're so deeply dependent on, the strategy of attacking and demonizing the person that we actually need to give us a preferential deal. Yeah, maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe we shouldn't do that. No, they still have not come to that conclusion, to that realization.
What's the general impression of Trump in Canada?
He's probably the most disliked politician in the world in Canada because he's attacked his closest family member, and that's the way we look upon it. And when I talk to the governors and senators and Congress people, even Republicans totally disagree, but they're too scared to come out and say anything because the president will go after them. Outside of a few senators, and I want to thank them for coming out and standing with not just American people, but their closest friends and allies, which is Canada. And again, we love the Americans. It's unfortunate President Trump decided to go down this road.
In comes Doug Ford, a Canadian conservative politician, in the midst of an economic recession, in the midst of getting absolutely hammered by President Trump. Here he comes with the genius strategy of attacking Donald Trump and claiming that everybody hates him. Yes, we need a deal with President Trump. Also, F that guy. Everybody hates him. He's stupid. He's a fascist. He's orange. He's dumb. I hate him. Where did these people learn to negotiate? I mean, seriously. I think we're watching possibly the dumbest display of diplomacy ever engaged. Holy moly, this Doug Ford guy. And actually, if you guys didn't know, Doug Ford is the brother of Rob Ford, the infamous crack-smoking former mayor of Toronto. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Doug might even be the bigger crackhead of the brothers, without even having a problem with drugs. I mean, either they're doing it on purpose and there's some cynical strategy here to take advantage of the economic uncertainty for their own political careers, either that, or these people just lack emotional control and maturity. I mean, what are you thinking? And this weird hyperfixation with President Trump. You're not even negotiating with President Trump. I mean, yes, you are, but technically not really. This is a negotiation between America and Canada. And the reality is, Trump is temporary. He's not going to be there forever. And the hope is that you're negotiating for a trade deal that's going to last generations and set the path forward for two historically connected countries to work together, move forward, and bring prosperity to their people. But obviously, they're not looking at the bigger picture. No, they're just looking at Donald Trump, and they're ready to burn bridges over the most petty of politics in what seems to be the most corrupt, cynical play I've ever seen. And the reality is, it's killing them. Canada's economy is in the absolute gutter, and I'm sure you've noticed it because, generally content relating to the country of Canada isn't exactly popular online. When's the last time you saw Canadian content flourishing all over social media? It just doesn't happen. But I'm sure you've noticed over the last roughly 2 to 3 years, finance documentaries on the collapse of Canada have been all the rage. These videos are garnering millions upon millions of views, pulling in eyes not just from Canadian viewers, but from a worldwide audience. The entire world has been tuned in to the utter economic collapse of Canada, to the lost decade that Justin Trudeau brought his people. Canada is a country that is facing malignant, deadly socialist scourge. And meanwhile, as all of this is happening, as they've posted I don't even know how many quarterly contractions, they decide in possibly the weakest moment ever that they're going to take a fight with President Trump. How stupid is that? And this idea that people were going to jump to their defense on their side, to their own detriment, they were going to side with weakened, injured animal Canada to take on the American behemoth, stupid, was never going to happen. And frankly, there was never really a premise to justify that, because this whole notion that Canada is being targeted and they need their allies to come help them is bogus. Every country has been in the same position. The only difference is the other countries acted smart, thought strategic diplomacy, setting emotions aside and negotiating. And while Canada is the country embodiment of an SJW green-haired Karen. Their entire reaction was overblown, ridiculous, clearly meant to pander to the MSNBC schizoids. And look where it got them. Holy frickin' moly, Canadian voters, it's time for a wake-up call. You are not the victims, you are not being oppressed, you're not being bullied by the orange man. You are simply experiencing the consequences of your own poor decision-making. You are being led by monumental idiots, and you voters are the ones enabling those idiots. And you're being constantly bombarded with this propaganda that Trump is the enemy. Meanwhile, your own freaking leaders have been effing you in the behind for decades. You voted for the same political party that sent your middle class into the gutter, that created the worst economic crises the country has faced in decades. You voted for the party that created the worst wealth disparity in your country's history. And now young people can't start families, can't buy homes, can't do freaking anything, and they're falling further and further behind their peers in the Western world. You voted for that same party, and now you've allowed them to gaslight you into thinking that Trump is the problem. Get your heads out of your asses. Donald Trump isn't the problem. He's your solution. You could only wish to have a leader like President Trump. But no, instead you get two cruddy options, two establishment milquetoast cowards who both push the same globalist game. You're falling further and further behind as you continue to condescend towards President Trump and the American machine. And well, you may not see it now, but eventually, once you hit absolute rock bottom, which is exactly where these socialists will take you every time, history has proven that, well, at that point, you're not going to have much choice but to wake up now, are you? Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.